the time has come for the Phillies team overview and my final prediction. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phillies Satsuo Videocast. Today we're going to have a Philadelphia Phillies team overview as we're going to be talking about, this team and going into the roster. And I'm also going to be giving my final prediction. Now, guys, before we get into this video, please subscribe if you haven't not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. So we have a lot to talk about in this video, and I'm just so excited for opening day. Now 2 days away. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. And spring training is finally over. It ended yesterday, of course, and wow, I mean, it's just amazing how fast that went. I mean, pretty decent spring training. It's just amazing. The first game was on February 28th. The final game, March 29th. Today is March 30th, and I'm excited to get into this Phillies team overview. I just am. I mean, it's just we got a lot to talk about. I'm gonna give you my opinions, my final record prediction. Stick around to the end of this video, and I'm gonna be giving my final record prediction at the end of the video. So make sure you all stick around for that. And I'm just gonna jump right off the bat. I mean, we're gonna go to start rotation. We're gonna be looking at the bullpen, and we're also going to be looking at the starting lineup and the bench and going over this 26-man roster for the Phillies, which is actually pretty solid. And yeah, I think the question that you got to keep asking yourself in the middle of this video while I'm talking is this a good enough team to legitimately compete in the NL East? And the NL East is, a great division. We all know that. It's one of the best divisions in sports, if not the best. It's just unbelievable. It's just a powerful division. It's just unbelievable. And I can't wait to see it on display in 2021. I mean, you go back and look at the years. I mean, even in 2019, this division was considered a juggernaut. So it didn't really pan out that way in 2019, but going into 2019 season, it looked like it was going to be a juggernaut. And the Phillies, I mean, they're definitely a better team right now than they were in 2019. There's no question about that. Hopefully, we play better than we did in 2018. It was just a 500 ball club in 2019 and a below 500 ball club in 2020. So hopefully we get to see a better Phillies team this year. I really hope we do. The division is just so tough. As we jump into the starting rotation, the number one man, the ace, Aaron Nola leading the pack. The pack of 5 men. Aaron Nola, I just love Aaron Nola. I mean, he has great stuff. We all know that. I mean, with the play-away pitch, the curveball, the change, and he doesn't have an overpowering fastball. But he's by far the ace of this rotation. Yes, I know he's a little hot and cold at times, but I mean, I think that's pretty much as expected. This guy's going to go out there and eat a ton of innings for you. I mean, this guy's just a complete package. He's a Cy Young type pitcher. We all know he was in consideration back in 2018. Unfortunately, that award ended up going to Jacob deGrom. It was well deserved. He was one of the finalists, one of the top 3 finalists. I believe he finished third in the voting in the Cy Young back in 2018. But 2019, it was still a very good year. It just wasn't nearly as good as his 2018 season. 2020 was decent up until the very end. I mean, the biggest problem with Aaron Nola is the September collapses. If he could keep that under control and be a better pitcher down the line, that's great. I mean, you go back and look at September 2020, the problem is because of the fact that I think he just entered a slump. I think because it was only a 60-game season. And I think now we have Zach, Wheeler in there. I think that's really going to take the pressure off. So hopefully we could see a better Aaron Nola down the line. And we haven't really got to see him pitch in a really big game. I mean, one of the biggest games I think I've seen him pitch is, of course, opening day. But, the last game of the season, 2020 against the Tampa Bay Rays, did not do so well. We also had game 5-0 end off the 2020 season. And, that's one of the biggest games I've ever seen him pitch. So we of course never got to see him pitch in a playoff game. So we don't really know how that's like. But I really like Aaron Nola at the top. Zach Wheeler. Number 2, I mean, this guy is also very, very good. I talk about the 1-2 punch. I mean, this guy has overpowering fastball. I just love his fastball. And you top out at 99. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable. He's past Tommy John surgery, which is always nice. And he has a ton of innings left because he hasn't really thrown a whole lot of innings prior in his career due to some injuries. And knowing that he's going to be fully healthy is a great sign. It's just a great sign. I know he didn't start spring training, in the best way he could, but he kind of settled down, especially in his past couple of starts in spring training, look very decent. You don't really put too much emphasis on the spring training numbers, but I like Zach Wheeler a lot. I mean, he's a great number 2. I think the top in our rotation is very, very solid. Zach Eflin, a big year for Zach Eflin, the number 3 starter in rotation. He had a pretty consistent 2020 season over a 60-game span. Now, can he keep that up over a 162-game stretch? That remains to be seen. But you go back and look at 2019, he showed sprints of being very, very good and also very, very terrible as well. You go back and look at July 2019, absolutely horrible. Remember there's a couple starts against the Atlanta Braves. That was just brutal. Very, very brutal. He was giving up a run every inning. I mean, on average. I remember that. He was absolutely terrible. horrible. The inconsistencies with Zach Eflin to a concern. He doesn't have the greatest stuff, and he knows how to locate it really, really well. He just does. Like, he doesn't have the greatest stuff, but he knows how to get the job done, and I just love that. And this is the kind of guy that, can go a long way. I mean, you look how many complete games that he's thrown. I mean, he can eat a lot of eggs for you, if he's consistent. I mean, you see how many complete games he's thrown. It's just unbelievable. So I like Zach Eflin on. When Zach Eflin's on, he's on. He's very hot and cold. There's not a lot of gray with Zach Eflin. Either he's great or he's not. But I am very, very comfortable with Zach Eflin in number 3 spot in rotation. I just really like him a lot. And the number 4, Matt Moore, the first time the Phillies are starting the season with a lefty in rotation since 2015 with Cole Hamels. Matt Moore signing this one-year contract. Previously played in Japan last year, where they actually got to have a little bit more playing time than the MLB. So that's nice. He didn't really have, the shortened season last year because he did not play in the MLB. He's a former All-Star. He's kind of past his prime. We all know that. But I think the biggest asset of Matt Moore is that he's a left-hander, right? I mean, I think we all know that he's a left-hander. And that's a valid asset in itself because as of right now, him and Jose Alvarado, the only 2 lefties on the Phillies the pitching staff. I mean, he could bullpen and start rotation combined. I mean, that's it. There's 2. He's one of 2. So it's a really valuable asset to have, Matt Moore in the start rotation because, he's just a lefty in itself, right? I mean, that's an asset in itself that he's just a lefty. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's not absolutely horrible. He's not like he's he's not going to be a washed up, type of guy. I mean, he's definitely on the decline. There's no question about that. But it's not like this guy's 38 years old, towards the end. I mean, he's getting up there a little bit, but I think this guy is a little bit left. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, don't expect this guy to have a below 4 ERA. I mean, this guy's a number 4. Keep this in mind here. If he could have an ERA, low 4s, I mean, that wouldn't be horrible for a number 4. It wouldn't be horrible. I mean, he could do better. But Chase Henderson down in the basement is number 5. I'm not the biggest Chase Anderson guy. Didn't do so well last year with the Toronto Blue Jays. Had a very, very decent spring, and we got to see a lot of his stuff. And he did pretty well. I mean, he did very, very well. I'm not gonna say. I mean, I like the slider. I mean, his slider's pretty decent. But he doesn't have the greatest repertoire in the world. But if he can kind of go back to his 2017 type season, he had with the Milwaukee Brewers, which is very, very decent. I think that it all depends a lot of the what ifs in this rotation. Especially once you get down to the bottom with Matt Moore. What if they can do this? But not as much once you get to the top, of course, since those names are very, very attractive. But with Chase Anderson, it's just like you gotta keep things in check here with Chase Anderson. Hopefully, he could replicate. Once I said before. The 2017 type season that he had. I mean, which was very solid, the Milwaukee Brewers, and even the 2018 season, not horrible. But don't expect Chase Anderson to have a great season for us. I mean, that's as expected. Once you get down to rotation, names are just not as pretty. It's not like this guy's a number 2. So just keep that in mind. So Chase Anderson leading there. As you get to take a look at the bullpen. Archie Bradley, the new additions, Archie Bradley and Jose Alvarado and, Sam Coonrad and, Brandon Kinsler this offseason. And, I mean, this bullpen is very, very solid. It's much better. A complete overhaul from last year's bullpen. And you kind of look at some similar names we did see last year. Hector Neris. We got to see David Hale last year. I mean, Vince Velasquez, he was kind of been in and out of starting rotation, but it looks like he is now permanently in the bullpen. Do not like Vince Velasquez in the bullpen. And let me just tell you, why in the world are we going to keep Jojo Romero out? Why are we going to re-sign in minor league? I mean, I just don't understand that. I just don't understand. He's a lefty for one. And why in the world are we giving Vince Velasquez getting another chance? Why? It makes no sense to me why we keep giving this guy another chance. It's just like time after time after time. And I keep explaining, if you're doing 5, 6 innings, 100 plus pitches, well, because he can't locate. It's not like he's, exiting the game at 60, 70 pitches. He's leaving because he can't locate. He's walking a bunch of people. It's just mind-boggling. Him in the bullpen will not work. But moving on to some more positive things, Archie Bradley signing that 1-year deal after being non-tendered by the Reds, which is just a silly move, in my opinion. It's yet to be determined who's going to be the closer. I haven't really heard much about it. I think it's just going to be one of those things that kind of decide, as the season goes on. I think Joe Girardi's kind of alluded to that. He tried to do it last year, but he just couldn't seem to find anyone of him, and that was just horrible. Brandon Workman. Archie Bradley, he's great. I mean, he just has really, really electric stuff. I mean, he's just awesome. I think, you can see he's going to build well with the Philadelphia fans. And Jose Alvarado with some heat. He's a lefty, which I love, and I understand he got to struggle toward the latter end of spring training, but you can't really look too much into that. I keep saying that. I'm disappointed that he couldn't finish off a little bit stronger, but everyone enters something. I think he just enters something at the wrong time. It's just, and not even at the wrong time. I mean, that guy's not doing it in the regular season, right? That 300 money allowed yesterday to Toronto Blue Jays, but Jose Alvarado is not only a valuable asset to this bullpen, but he's especially a valuable asset because he's a lefty, which I just love. And Hector Neris. I like Hector Neris. I do. I know there's a lot of Hector haters out there. I don't like him as a closer. I don't like him, in the ninth inning, but I like him as a setup guy. You go back and look, some of his strong seasons like 2016, and he was really bad in 2018. He even got sent down to the minor leagues for a little. Remember that? AAA. And, 2019 was a pretty decent year for him. I mean, I like him in the setup role. I do not like him as a closer, as I said, but I like him in the setup role. I like the splitter. It's a good pitch if he can locate it. Connor Brogdon, I mean, this guy is just electrifying. You saw, what he did in spring training, just great. I mean, even this kid was showing some signs last year, too. I mean, he was very, very decent. So I love Connor Brogdon. I mean, this guy's going to be this is great. If he can keep up what he did in spring training, that would be great. And I keep, reverting back to this, but, the next Ryan Matson, I just love to say that. And Brandon Kinsler, a super underrated pitcher, coming with the Miami Marlins on that minor league deal. I mean, we all know he went, start the season in the minor leagues, but had a very, very decent spring training. He was very, very solid. And a friend of Bryce Harper's, Bryce really pushed for the Phillies to sign him, and, this guy's going to be great, too. I mean, I think that, this is a total overhaul in this Phillies bullpen. We've really done a nice job. And Sam Coonrod coming over to San Francisco Giants, I mean, this guy had like a really high ERA last year, and you saw what he did in spring training. He settled down. He really settled down and got more simple. He was very, very good in spring training, and that is really, really promising to see. I mean, because we had some doubts, and he looked very, very solid in spring training. So David Hale. One of the additions we got last year from the New York Yankees, and the guy we gave up for him was, oh my goodness gracious, that was a pretty bad trade, but David Hale, he was one of the guys that we got last year that actually wasn't like the worst, right? He wasn't the worst. I mean, I don't love David Hale, but he's not terrible. He's not terrible. He's kind of the guy. He's kind of like falls into like I believe he's better than Vince Velasquez, but especially at the bullpen. But kind of guy you relieve on. In the middle innings, middle reliever, type of there and. Getting down to Vince Velasquez, oh my goodness gracious, you all know. I even explained it before I went into Archie Bradley. Doesn't work in the bullpen. I don't even want to explain it anymore because I think you all know how I feel about that. I mean, it's just like 100 plus pitches in 5 or 6 innings. I mean, not even that. I mean, if, on a good day, right? He's not going to work in the bullpen. And he worked in the bullpen, maybe he was at 60, 70 pitches through 5, 6 innings. The reason why he's at 100 plus pitches is because he's walking people. Like, he needs to get control. And then maybe we can have a separate conversation. I mean, it's just like, it's ridiculous. It's just totally ridiculous. I don't even want to discuss it. But starting, and the pitching staff, I mean, not terrible. It's much, much better than it was in 2020. Now, the question is it good enough to legitimately compete? Is it better? Are we going to be able to legitimately compete in NL East? And that is a question you have to keep reminding yourself in this video, as I keep saying. And take a look at the starting lineup. We go through Andrew McCutchen, left field. If he could go back to his 2019 waves, he's not going to be like he was in 2013. If he could be, be an on-base machine like he was in 2019, he was on pace to set the most walks as a leadoff hitter. He was unbelievable. He was playing pretty decent defense. Making some sliding catches. If he can go back to that, I mean, we were in it for he's a great table setter at the top of the lineup. So Andrew McCutchen leading it off for the Phils, and if he can get, be an on-base machine like he was 2 years ago, we are really, really set up for success. Reese Hoskins batting second. I think, this is just, a lineup that I kind of thrown together a little bit. I think it's, I think let's see what Joe Girardi, the skipper, does, but this is what I think, I think it's the Philly, most likely the Phillies lineup. Reese Hoskins batting second. I mean, I even see Alec Bohm. I mean, we'll get to that a little bit later, but Reese Hoskins, I mean, he needs to wake up. He really, really needs to wake up, and I have nothing to really refer back to because he's just been so hot and cold. And if he can go back to what he was doing in the beginning of 2019, when he was hitting for like a 270 average, 270 plus average, hitting all these home runs, being consistent, and even you saw the latter half of 2020 where he was just absolutely dreadful to start the season. He's never really great to start the season. Maybe I should say that because in 2019 he started off with a bang. In 2020 he was not there. I think a lot of people were off. I'm not really going to harp on Hoskins too much. But he needs to get on base because he wasn't getting on base a whole lot in spring training. He just wasn't. The on base number, Reese Hoskins is always the kind of guy that gets on base a lot. Then the on-base numbers just were not there for him. He wasn't drawing a whole lot of walks in spring training, so he needs to get back to that. Number one, even if you have the walks, I mean, he still needs to do a better job at hitting. The power numbers need to be there consistently. They just haven't been, and now even the walks are becoming a problem. So this is a very big year for Reese Hoskins. He really needs to step it. And you're going to put his number 2 hitter. It's because he's getting on base, right? You expect him to be, remember for a while he's hitting cleanup, but you need to act like a cleanup if you're going to be there. So I completely understand the batting of number 2 because he needs to get on base. Number three, number three, the number three hitter, Bryce Harper in right field. I mean, my favorite player. He's going to go into the season as an MVP candidate like he is every year. We all know the potential's there. I mean, that 2015 season, one of the best seasons ever recorded by a position player. Just a monster year. Who knows if he'll ever replicate that again? But I mean, like that's a lot to ask for, as I keep saying. That is just a monster year. I don't think people realize how good a year that was. And even if he gets somewhere even close to that, that'd be very, very solid. And we all know he's not going to hit 300 again, most likely. I think the shift has killed him on that level. You know he's going to hit the ball to all fields. You know that he's going to hit. I mean, if he can hit above 270, I think that'd be great. And he almost did it last year, 268 in a shortened season. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, he had that back issue. So if he can hit above 270, I think that'd be great. I mean, I'm predicting I'm hoping that you can get 40 plus. I mean, Larry Bird was saying 50 plus. I'd love to see it. You all know I'm a big Harper fan. I'd love to see it. I think that's a little much. I mean, I hope. We all do. I think realistic, I could see him going over 40. I really, I hope he could top 42, from 2015. I really hope he could do that. So I'm hoping for a big year out of Bryce. You know he's going to get on base. I mean, this guy says he ain't the problem, right? I mean, he has a pretty good defense. You go back to his defensive ways back in 2019. I mean, we're going to be in for a good Bryce Harper. Your JT Muto batting for the BCIB behind the plate. His elite defense he could run. I mean, I heard some scout, who's been in baseball for 40 years. He said, I've been in baseball for 40 years and I've never seen a catcher as athletic as JT Muto. So, I mean, the scouts got it right with this guy. I mean, this guy is just an all-around elite package. He might be a first baseman down the line, but I'm not talking about first baseman down the line. I'm talking about this year. And, if he could stay healthy like he has been, knock on wood, this guy, another guy ain't the problem. The BCIB, he's the best coach in baseball. I mean, knock it off with the Monty Grandal stuff. I mean, this guy's the real deal. He just really is. And Alec Bohm, the third baseman, batting fifth. I mean, I was going to revert back to this. Maybe you see him number 2 hitter. Maybe they move Hoskins down number 5. I'm not too sure. We're going to have to wait and see how the season plays out. I mean, who knows? I mean, this is just my lineup. I mean, assuming Reese Hoskins, gets back to how he was, on base numbers, but, starting to draw more walks. And Alec Bohm, he needs to work on his defense, but offensively, this guy's there. I mean, he's like a little Anthony Rendon. I mean, a simple approach, getting guys in. I mean, when run on base, he just seems like, usually when there's a run on base and nobody on base, there's 2 different hitters, especially with Bryce. He gets so into. I mean, he's a great hitter at one score position, but he gets so dialed in, and he looks like a different player. Without him, he just looks like the same player every time. Runner on base or not, he's just going to go up there and just have the simple approach. Line drive to left field, line drive to right field, line drive to center. This guy is just so simple. He's just such a pure hitter. We know, he's not going to, hit 30 plus home runs. I mean, at least I don't think. But, he could. There's no question about it. But, we don't really need to have a whole lot of power. We just need to be a simple hitter. And that's what he's going to do for you. And Didi Gregorius, not the best defender either. Defense on the left side of the infield is not great. But Didi Gregorius, a kind of guy who's going to hit, over that right field porch, 25 plus. Hopefully around a little 280 average. Didi Gregorius is a very, very solid player. He's a very, very solid player. And it's a shame that the shortstop class is just so good because he can't even be in the top 10 because all the shortstop right now are just unbelievable. Like Horace Seager, Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor. I can go on and on. Trevor Story. It's just, Xander Bogaerts. It's just so good. It's just such a good class, and Didi Gregorius is overlooked for that reason because it's just in Trey Turner. There's other people that are just better than him. They just are. And Gene Segura, number 7 hitter. This is kind of guy. He's kind of carrying a little bit of a singles hitter. He's going to be starting at second base this year. I like him much better at second base than I do shortstop. If he can go back to his 2018 ways and continue to hit for a high average, that'd be great. He's a doubles machine. Led the Phillies in doubles in 2019. If you can go back to that too, I think that'd be pretty decent. We need him to run out of the box too. We can't have him moping. His defense, he was really not great at shortstop. I like him better defensively at second base. And Gene Segura, we're going to see with Gene Segura. I'm not happy with the amount of money we owe him, but I'm going to give Gene Segura another shot. Adam Hazley batting 8th, playing center. Adam Hazley did get the starting nod. He'll hit around 231 in spring training, so I kind of get it. But Adam Hazley didn't get a whole lot of playing time, so prove me wrong, kid. Prove me wrong, Adam. He's made some pretty acrobatic plays out there. I don't love him defensively, but he's made some good plays out there. You see him robbing home runs. Remember DC robbed the home run? What was that, from Yan Gomes? And then that was back in 2018. And then he made another good play. Freddie Galvis in Cincinnati. That was in around the same time back in September 2018. That was before the Yan Gomes. When Yan Gomes, I think, was September 24th or something like that. Then I think it was around September 4th or 5th around 2019. Robbed a home run from Freddie Galvis in Cincinnati. That was unbelievable. So he's made some pretty acrobatic plays out there, but he's also made some boneheaded plays. Losing the ball in the sun. The balls right in front of him. He's made some, pretty bad plays out there, but offensively, he's kind of changed his stance a little like the Christian Yelich, right? Holding his bat out here. I mean, he needs to, be more consistent. He needs to just stay healthy. That's the problem with that. He needs to just stay healthy. He's not. I don't mind him. I don't mind him offensively. I just really don't. But he needs to stay healthy. And Joe Girardi didn't really play him a whole lot in 2020. He didn't really get much playing time. So you go take a look at the bench. Matt Joyce, this guy's just a home run waiting to happen off the bench. He's like the Jay Bruce, right? Now, like this is kind of Jay Bruce if he's the lefty that could hit the ball 1,000 miles out of the ballpark, right? I mean, I look at Matt Joyce, a guy like that. He's just to destroy the baseball, out to right field, and he's going to take advantage of that short porch and right. I mean, this is a guy that was on the verge of maybe not making the team, but we're going in, right? I mean, you saw what he did in spring training. He had a great spring training. I love Matt Joyce off the bench. I mean, he's a guy occasionally going to put in left field. McCutcheon needs a day off. He's going to put him in left field, or Bryce maybe needs a day off. He's going to play 158 plus. I mean, who knows? Maybe a Sunday game, later in the end of the season. Maybe he's even starting right field. But Brad Miller says he's going to be healthy ending the season. This is a utility man. I mean, this is the kind of guy that's going to be mostly in the field, even in the outfield too. I mean, McCutcheon's getting older, and another example, maybe you see some Brad Miller left field action. Maybe see him get some time in the infield. There's no question about that. He can play all around the diamond. He's just a very versatile player, and not to mention he's another lefty, right? I mean, we have a very good bench here. I love Brad Miller coming off the bench for the Phillies. I mean, he's just another guy, he has fun playing the game, sticking his tongue out with the bamboo. Not to mention he's a very good player at the bench. He's a utility man. Roman Quinn, the pinch runner. I can refer to this guy as a pinch runner, and this guy can run. He's had some health issues. Don't really like him as an MVP player. He's not horrible offensively. He's pretty bad last season. This spring training wasn't dreadful, but I like Roman Quinn. I mean, especially late in the game. You need a pinch runner or even a pinch hitter. He's not terrible. Rabbit is loose when he hits it down the line, but need a guy to come pinch run at second base. He's going to be there for you, and he has the wheels. He definitely has those wheels. It's unbelievable. I mean, this guy's just a speedster. As you take a look at Ronald Teres, a guy who I'm a little bit surprised made the big league roster. I'm glad that Scott Kingery's not here because I tell you, I don't really, I think it's time we send him down to minor leagues. But Ronald Teres, a guy that's going to play around the infield, he's going to get some, pinch hitting. I mean, he's not the guy at the top of the bench. He's just not. He's kind of a lower guy. He's the kind of guy kind of put in the low category. He's not going to get a whole lot of time with the Phillies bench. He's not going to be your, most everyday pinch hitter. He's just not. You're going to see guys, more guys like, Matt Joyce, Brad Miller, guys like that, get some more time with the Phillies bench. He's not going to be, a guy you see play even, guys like Brad Miller and, Matt Joyce, you're not going to see them play every day either. But I think they're going to get more action than Ronald Teres. But Ronald Teres is a guy that had a really good 2017 campaign with the New York Yankees, and he played over 100 games. So don't underestimate Ronald Teres either. I believe he hit close to 300. And that's pretty good. And Andrew Knapp, the backup catcher, we expected him. He started off the spring very well. Had a great 2020 season. Kind of fell off a little bit. The buzz kind of wore off with Andrew Knapp, and could play first base too. Later in the game or something like that. But most catchers can play first base, of course. Andrew Knapp, he's all right. He's all right. I mean, I like the guy. He grew great in 2020. Got a lot of playing time. He took advantage of it. He was very, very good. And but it's going to be interesting to see, how Andrew Knapp does. He's a switch hitter. Roman Quinn also a switch hitter. And, Ronald Teres, our bench is very, very, lefty. I mean, we have a good balance of lefties and righties. I mean, with Brad Miller, and Matt Joyce being a lefty, Roman Quinn being a switch, Andrew Knapp being a switch, and Ronald Teres being a righty. We have a lot of, it's a good balance. It's a very, very good balance. And that is the Phillies team overview. And, I'm confident with this ball club, and I don't know if it's legitimately, I don't know if it's, good enough to compete with the NL East. I just don't know. I mean, because there's a lot of good teams that, are very, very good too. I mean, that's the thing. It's just such a tough division. Just such a tough division. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. My final prediction for the 2021 Phillies record. I predict the Phillies to finish with an 86-76 record. To finish in third place behind the New York Mets. I predict the Atlanta Braves finishing first, New York Mets finishing second, the Philadelphia Phillies finishing third, Washington Nationals finishing fourth, and I predict the Miami Marlins to finish fifth. And I predicted the Marlins to have around 69 wins. The Nationals around 83 and 80, or 83 and I'm gonna say around 79 or something like that, around there. Around an 83 win ball club. I see the Phillies around 86. I see the Mets around a 90 win ball club. And I see the Braves 97 plus. I just do. I really see that. So the Phillies finishing third, 86-76. That's my final prediction. I forgot to talk about the Mark Appel comeback. I wish him luck. I don't really know how that's going to go, but A little announcement here. I mean, not only having Tim Kelly come on Friday, day after opening day, Mickey Morandini, former Phillies second baseman Mickey Morandini, will be coming on next Monday. So stay tuned for that. I'm so excited to announce that. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media link in the description section at Phillies Stats, Instagram, TikTok, Finance, Instagram, card, text 267-225-2392. Email me, PhilliesStats@gmail.com. The Phillies team overview and final predictions video. Opening day pregame show on Thursday before the game, of course. And right after that is the regular season, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited. Opening day now, Tuesdays away. Make sure you subscribe, as I said before. I'm looking. I'll talk to you later. Let's go, Phillies. I'll see you on Thursday. I'll see you.